Do you love the idea of personal growth but find the practice of it exhausting?
We get it.
We're Brandon and Megan Giggling, growth coaches with a mission to put the personal back in personal growth.
If you want a new way of growing into the next version of you without the frustration, guilt, and overwhelm, you're in the right place.
It's time to rethink your growth journey and make it into something that works for you.
You in?
Welcome to Growth Reframed.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Growth Reframed. We are so happy you're here. Hello, Maggie.
Yo, yo.
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. This is about the third take because we tried a couple times. Our dog's barking. The mailman's here. Who knows? But
we don't know what's going to happen.
That's just the way life happens. So, if I go running off or if the Kool-Aid man jumps through this wall, don't be shocked. Like anything could happen today. Well, yeah, today we titled the episode, Be Kind, Y'all. And the reason we did that is because we were just having a discussion the other day about, man, it's like, have you been out in the world recently and just thought, what the heck happened? Like, everyone just seems angry. You got your, what do we call it, Mag? Keyboard, not pirates, keyboard.
Yeah, keyboard warriors.
Yeah, you got your keyboard warriors out behind the screen, spreading hate and negativity. You got people just stressed. You got all kinds of different things happening. And it just seems like we lost the touch of being kind to each other. It seems like we're more impatient than we used to be. It seems like we're more stressed out than we used to be. And if we're not careful, at least I know for me, you can fall into a cycle of being like, well, why am I even trying? Why does it even matter? And it can wear you down to the point where you are burnt out on all of it and you start acting the same way, frankly, perpetuating the problem. And so today we want to talk about some of the reasons why the world might be that way. We're not going to spend a ton of time on that. And then we're going to talk about the power of being kind and what a difference it can make. And so I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, what happened was the other day I was looking at a note from somebody that we work with, and they were talking about how someone came in and was just basically for no reason, they laughed in their face and were just totally rude. And like I was telling you, B, I mean, I get it if there's some sort of like problem that you're encountering when you're, being a patron somewhere, or if there's some sort of issue when you have a medical thing, or when you're at a restaurant, or there's money that you didn't expect to be owed and now you owe it, or any of those things. Like, I can sort of understand the anger and frustration in those moments, but I've noticed that more and more we're experiencing in our real lives, there are people that are just angry and so mean and so hateful for actually no reason. Like, there's nothing even that perpetuated it. They're just mean to be mean, it seems like. And so I was just like, it'd be so much happier. It'd be such a better place. We'd be so much less stressed if people didn't walk around so angry and mad and just like spreading their virus, essentially, all throughout to everyone, people that don't even deserve it, people that know nothing about their life, have nothing to do with their issues. There's not even like an issue with that restaurant, that doctor's office, that wherever you are, and they're just mean and hateful. And that's kind of where this episode came from, is like, we could just do so much better. And just because the person treated you like that does not mean that you have to turn around and then treat the next person like that. You can be better.
Yeah, and I mean, even if it was a bad experience, if I've had bad experiences, have I handled them all great? No. But it's really just having, like, where did grace go? Where did, like, having a little bit of grace? Like, do you remember starting a job at a fast food place? Do you remember, like, being in a coffee shop and getting something wrong? No, you're 100% perfect all the time. And it's funny, as me and Meg were talking, like you said, it's like a virus. And it's funny you say that because, like, I literally think a lot of it happened with COVID and all the division that was being promoted with COVID. That's one of the reasons. Because, y'all, we got to be honest. Like, we're in a social media world where we're looking at everything and we're spread with negativity all over the place. We're comparing to other people. We have the keyboard warriors out there, emboldened by the fact that they're sitting behind a screen, spreading hate. We get it too.
In their mom's basement, just saying.
I always say, that's my joke. They're in their mom's basement. I'm sorry if you live in your mom's basement. We love you. But they're in their mom's basement. They're hating on us. Trust me, y'all. We get hate just like everyone else. It does happen. And it's really for no reason. Like, we're trying to spread a positive message, but it's going to be met with negativity. But does that mean we stop or not? And these are real discussions we've had. But you have the social media piece. Then you have the political polarization of everything. Like, everything turns political. Like, sporting events are political. And I don't know, a kid's birthday party is probably political. I don't know. We can turn everything into it. And naturally, with all of it, it's just creating a big divide. We seem to be more divided than ever. I always say to other people, like, we're more connected than we've ever been in life, but we're more divided than we've ever been in life. And I think you can sense that. I can feel people like kind of shaking their heads out there, just sensing that that's what it feels like. And so again, I don't want to spend too much time on the negative because that's not what we're about right now. That's not what we're about today. That's what's happening. And that's what people are bringing into it. Mm-hmm. So then how do you face a world that's very negative and go forward with a positive mindset? And does it even matter if you do that? And I would argue it does.
Yeah, it definitely does. I think that so often we, like you said at the beginning of this episode, actually, we feel like, it doesn't matter and there's no impact we can make. And it, like, why even try to be happy when everybody else is just going to be negative? And every time you do try, it turns out badly. That's the kind of like cycle that we get into. But there are so many opportunities and so many examples out there of when you didn't succumb to it and it ended up really good. And it doesn't mean that you're going to get a great result every time. Of course, you could be positive all you want, and there are still going to be negative people out there. There's still going to be mean and hateful people for actually no reason. But it reflects on them and not you. So you shouldn't change who you are and change who you want to be and change the positive message that you're trying to put out into the world just because you've gotten some negative responses. That's not how it works. You should continue to be that person, to be that light, because you are going to eventually impact somebody. You are going to eventually get that be kind, y'all, like spread again to somebody else who might not have been having a good day and who might have been ready to jump and pounce, but you turned them around and you did that. And so they don't have to go hurt somebody else because they got kindness when they didn't deserve it from you. And so now they don't have to feel like they have to go out and be mean for no reason to somebody else. And I just feel like it's just such a cyclic thing. If we could just break that cycle, we would all be in such a better place. We wouldn't have to just be miserable all the time.
Yeah. And the reality is, the reality is it can break down the barriers. It can bridge the gap in the divide, like being contagious. Being kind. I'm about to say it's contagious, y'all. Like there's actually scientific facts behind the fact that it's contagious if you're kind. It's actually releasing chemicals into your brain when you're kind, and it spreads to other people. And like you said, Meg, maybe that person that you're talking to left that conversation in a negative way. But what if the next conversation, they were a little bit more aware? And then that next person, they treated with a little bit more kindness. Like I was in our conversations, just to be transparent with y'all, I try to carry myself in a really positive way. Again, I fail a ton, but there's a lot of times where I'll hold the door for people. These are practical, easy steps, by the way. I'll hold the door for people. I'll ask people how they're doing. I'll be kind to my waiter or server because they take more crap than anyone. Mm-hmm. If someone gets something wrong, I'll show them some grace because it will come back to you. Like, do you want to live in a world like this, or do you want to live in a world where you're spreading more joy? I would rather be contagious with that because the other thing we're talking about, the virus, that's contagious too. The negativity, the hate, the spewing of all those things. Again, we've fallen into it too because you know what? We're on social media. Like we're I hate to say we're social media figures, but we are. We're talking heads on the internet, right? And so there's a lot of people that dislike that. There's also like 95% of the people that really do like it and respond really well, and we love y'all for it. You can't stop what you're doing because of the 1%. Like you have to turn back. And I get, it feels like the negativity will win because it's so loud and negative people seem to be louder and it just seems to be everywhere because like Meg and I have been trying to find a new Netflix show and we can't find anything that's not like a psychological negative thing. Like we're trying to find a happy show. Doesn't exist. Started watching Homeland, by the way. Not as crazy, but still it's not that happy. And so you can forget and you can kind of fall into the cycle. But if you just try little things to spread that kindness, you'll end up in just a much happier place too.
Yeah. And you started kind of saying it, but I don't know if you fully went there. But it all starts with us as individuals. If we want the world to be happier, if we want the world to be kinder, then it has to start with, like you said, those little examples, those little ways where we personally can impact, where we personally can be nicer to our kids, be nicer to our friends, be nicer to our neighbors, be nicer to the strangers. And all of that will spread out. Then our kids go to school and they're nice. And then our neighbors go to work and they're nice. And then our strangers across the street and across the community and across the world start being a little bit kinder because they've experienced kindness when maybe they didn't even deserve it, but they got it anyway because we're concentrating on what we personally and individually can do, and that just spreads.
Right. And what you're really touched on too is like the piece of leading by example. Like, what example do you want to spread? What example do you want to put in the world? Because these things have a ripple effect. You don't know what they could be. You know, you've been standing on the side of the shore and you've thrown a rock in and you see the ripples. That happens with the energy that you carry out in the space. So today we challenge you, find someone online or in person. Tell them you like their shoes. Give them a compliment. Thank them for good service. That's the thing that gets missed too. People are doing a great job, but we're so surrounded by people that aren't, that we don't recognize and lift that up when we can. You're actually way more likely to talk about a negative experience than a positive experience anyway, but be that person that spreads that light. Give that person a compliment. See how they light up when you do.
Encourage the people around you instead of always making it something terrible. It doesn't have to be something terrible. We make it into something terrible. But when you encourage the people around you, whether you know them or not personally, it can matter so much to them, and it can totally impact how they interact with the next person.
Yeah, those small acts of kindness, those ripple effects, they can have a profound effect on the world around you. I always like to say, yeah, maybe you can't change the whole world, but you can change your world. You have an impact where you're standing, where you're seeing, the coffee shop you're going to, the workplace you're going to, the people you interact with. You hold that space, and it can be a really positive place where you're spreading that positive energy in nature and hope that those people pay it forward later. Or you can have that really fall into the negativity, say it's worthless, and then what? We just give up? No, that's not my personality. That's not what I'm going to do. Like, I refuse to believe that people want to live in a world that's this negative and this divided. So just go out there, y'all. Your challenge today, be kind, y'all. Go out there, spread some positive nature, spread some positive energy. Give someone a compliment. Thank them for their time. Hold the dang door for them. Easy things. And you'll see the impact that you make, and hopefully that'll encourage you to continue that domino effect as you move forward. We love y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Growth Reframed. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe and leave us a review. We would love to connect with you, so shoot us a DM on Instagram @GrowthReframed. We love y'all.